Wow. So this is what Finland is like. Interesting. Welcome to the video, guys. My name is Zealous, and I will be sharing my long and frustrating experience building an iconic and sometimes a hassle Satsuma. This was about a 10-hour process. I sat down and did it all in one sitting, just to see if I could focus and actually build the damn thing. So let me ramble about it for a bit. Starting off here, we obviously need to name our finished man. Hold on one second. It's a little rough, but it gets the point across. Now, I want to start this video by saying that I have absolutely zero idea about cars. So I'm going into this with pretty much zero knowledge when it comes to repairing vehicles. But I do have a bit of tenacity. So we'll see how far that gets me here. So, after sitting here for about 4 minutes, I then finally realized that I have to hit enter to begin. Off to a very strong start, as you can see. For clarification, I have played this game once before for about an hour. I was attempting to get a multiplayer mod working with my buddy Gucci, so consider me a mostly fresh player. But after admiring my guy's finest finished decor, I went and read the note left by my parents on the fridge. After carefully evaluating the note, I proceeded to grab a drink. I then realized the mess I had put myself into.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Here is about when I realized just how fucked this was. So I decided the best first thing to do was to just ignore the car and try to head to town, since I knew I'd need to grab some food at some point. So I fiddled with the bike, managed to start it up, and started my journey. Now, after struggling with this thing for a little bit, I drove around for probably about 5 to 10 minutes before realizing that I don't really know where I'm going. I did, though, pick some strawberries in the middle of all this. So that's cool, I guess. Only got $40 for it, though. Now, after roaming around for a bit longer, I managed to find the main road, thankfully. I used this then to slowly make my way over to the town. After carefully turning in and making sure I was on the right road then, I then proceeded to finally go to the store. At the store, I proceeded to then get distracted immediately by the lottery machine. I then picked up a little bit of food, and I then sat and struggled and tried to get it on the back of my bike here.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
It was about here when I realized that I probably shouldn't have brought the bike if I wanted to buy stuff. So I then decided that it was time to make another save. Welcome to our second save. It was here that I had a mission. This time, we were going to take the boat and try to get to this town as fast as possible. I did make a quick detour though, just to grab some of that gift money. Once I obtained the boat, it was about a 5-minute ride over to the town. I did stop at this one little island here though, just to see what was on it. All I did find though was a camera. Moving on, I then proceeded to get back on the boat and head over to the town. After docking in town, I then proceeded up to the store to buy my shit. It was then, after buying it, I realized that I would have to walk it back down. After getting my items about 75% of the way there, I was properly introduced to the Finnish locals. After mulling on that stupidity for a little while, I decided I should probably just follow a guide, since this hasn't been going very well. It was here that I started the third playthrough. Alright guys, this is a run. We're going to Parajarve. Oh my god. Now that I was following a guide, I had a pretty clear goal in mind. Grab the tractor and the trailer, grab the gas cans, and then make it to the repair shop. Pretty simple. In premise. After a bit of struggling with the tractor, I made my way, very slowly, over to Flatari's. It was here that I realized he wasn't open, obviously. Now, what I didn't realize was that he closes at 4, or that the game starts you at 2 p.m. The guide I'm following, I'll have it linked in the description, doesn't make any mention of the times, so I was pretty much clueless in this. It took me a bit to realize. So, after waiting around for about 5 minutes, I got kind of pissed, assuming that I was here too early, thinking that it was early morning. So I did the only right thing, and I cussed out the shop. After that, I then started to think that maybe my game was just bugged. So, following the trend I've already set, I then started another playthrough. Now, there's not much to say really on this playthrough. It's an exact carbon copy of the last one, considering I was still under the impression my game was bugged. So, I made my way back over to Flatari's, and was then greeted with disappointment.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Once again, I sat around for a while, hoping I just came here early. After a while, I saw this dude, who was being a menace. After helping him out, I decided that this whole thing was stupid, so I looked up the time he closes and the time you start. After realizing how big of a dumbass I am, I then made my last and final playthrough. Alright, you get the gist of how this goes now. But before I left, I did a bit of save scumming, if you want to call it that. I did that a handful of times until it was the next morning then. Once I verified this, I started off on my journey to Flatari's again. On my way, somehow I managed to have the worst wreck I've had yet. After fixing this little mess, I then finally made my way to the shop. Once I got there, I was finally able to buy an alternator, starter, and head gasket. Once I acquired the parts, I then started my journey again. Before hitting town, I stopped at the abandoned farmhouse here so I could make sure I picked up the 4 tires needed for the Satsuma. Once the tires were retrieved, I finally made my way over to the actual shop. Once inside, I bought some motor oil, 3 things of brake fluid, a box of spark plugs, a new battery, new headlight bulbs, and a new alternator belt. I also grabbed all the sausages and some pizza for later. Now, after buying and grabbing my shit, I then proceeded to fill up my gas cans and my tractor, and then I started the journey back, mentally preparing myself for what I had actually gotten myself into. Upon returning, I unloaded everything and put the shit where it needed to be. After resting up and hyping myself up, I slowly walked my ass over to the garage and I took a sit rep. So I spent a little bit of time looking around, trying to familiarize myself with everything and where it's all at. After doing that, I went over to the car build part of the guide. Now I will say that the guide is quite good for a written version of building the Satsuma, but it does miss a couple of things, and gets some bolt sizes wrong as well, so use it with caution. So, following the guide, I started with installing the whole wheel and suspension system first. After struggling for quite a while on the very first part, I got kind of worried, considering I had many more parts to go here. Look, there's a dime a dozen of videos on YouTube of Satsuma builds. One's much better than I could explain. Instead, I'll just tell you about what fucked with me the most. To start, the damn garage door. I didn't have it fully opened, and I figured moving the Satsuma inside would help some, at least underneath. As I moved it though, it got caught, and somehow I struggled even more to push it back out. Thankfully, I realized I could just push the frame around. Most of the frame stuff here thankfully wasn't too bad. I could not for the life of me figure out where the steering rods went, so they ended up getting installed last. I also tightened the bolt on the disc brakes a little too soon, but that was thankfully an easy fix. Now, it was at this point that I was about 5 hours into this play session. Alright. That's done. On to the engine. Yippee! And unfortunately, I was only just really starting the car. I bring this up because, my god, the engine block was absolutely fucking brutal. For me, at least. Everything was going pretty smooth, up until I tried moving the block to the hoist. I didn't realize that you didn't need to do this until you were putting it in, nor did I realize where I was even supposed to bolt it in. So I spent way too long messing with this. And this was just one of the many little frustrations that built up while doing this. After abandoning that, I realized I didn't tune the rocker shaft, so I made sure to do that now, since I didn't have to mess with it any more tuning than I had to after I was already done. So, my guy was looking a little rough, so I took care of his needs, and then I went and messed with the hoist even longer, until I finally did get it, thankfully. Back to the actual car parts. The water pump gave me some hassle, not due to the part itself, but the guide gave me the wrong damn bolt size. The next thing that gave me some grief was the alternator. This was mostly due to the fact that I was trying to put it in the complete wrong area, but I did eventually get it. I then put on the belt and set the belt's tension, and then I installed the distributor. I only bring this up because I may have set it up wrong, which will come in a little later here. While I'm at it, I want to talk about the phone calls, because my oh my, does that get annoying when you're in the middle of trying to focus. Unless it's grandma calling. Screw SEMO though. The clutch pressure plate gave me some problems next. This was because of my own stupidity though. I wasn't reading the guide right, and did not realize I had to put the clutch pressure plate and disc onto the assembly and then put that onto the block. So that's definitely on me, again. Exactly here is where I compounded on my issue and made it way harder for me to figure it out. Me being able to put that on had me thinking it was the right way to do it. It was not. I then tried this shit again.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Definition of insanity, you know. I did eventually realize where I screwed up, and finally got the assembly on. The rest of the engine block wasn't too bad, although the gearbox did give me some trouble. I was struggling to find a 10 bolt on it. After figuring out where that bolt was, I decided to top up my character's stats. And then got distracted by that damn mosquito. As I previously said, the rest of the engine block thankfully wasn't too bad. But putting it in was a whole other problem. For starters, I had the frame backwards, so I had to push it back out and flip it around. As you can see, this was a bit of a hurdle to overcome. After finally getting it in place, I attempted to put the block in. Of course, putting this in would also give me some problems. Now, after finagling with the hoist for a bit, I was finally able to get the block in. Of course, the very next thing also gave me quite a bit of issues. Now, thinking on it, putting on the fuel strainer really shouldn't be too rough. In reality though, it was.
Oh. Fuck me, bro.
After finally finding where I lost it, I managed to get it inserted. The next couple of parts went on pretty smoothly. Mostly just a lot of hard bolts to get to. Alright, next day in game now. I double checked and made sure that everything was tightened that I had just put on last night. It was then pretty simple for the rest of the parts. From the gearbox to the interior. I will say, I got a little fed up with the dashboard. Oh boy. Just work with me here. Finally. There's a trend here where every problem takes longer because of my built-up frustration. The hood here is a great example. This is also the reason why I left it for one of my last pieces.
Finally!
So, pretty smooth going, minus the doors that keep falling off. That was until I got to the final hurdle, the electronics. I know, man, I'm working on it. The Satsuma takes time. Alright. The Satsuma is now built. Let us put some fluids in, and we'll see if she decides to blow up or not. I was a fool here, for I did not realize how long it'd take to wire this thing up. This is probably due to the fact that I just can't read the guide's instructions, but I struggled way longer than I thought I was going to. It ended up in me just finally looking up a video on it because I was getting quite frustrated. I thought I was good from here on out, so after wiring up the battery, I was ready to see the fruits of my labor. Now is the big moment. Will the Satsuma start? It was here I got extremely worried, not knowing what I had screwed up. Thankfully though, I had just put the old battery in by mistake, so I just swapped them out. After that little fiasco, I gave it another shot. Hearing it start made me very happy. As you can see though, I am quite tired, so I opted not to run it too long, to go sleep first, so that I could be well rested and I could get some good driving into it. Unfortunately, the game had other plans. Fuck me. It was here where everything fell apart. I don't know if it's because of me not tuning the distributor right or what, but now both of my batteries were dead. It is here where I will be ending the video. I attempted to charge the batteries, but no ball. So for my sanity, I had to call it there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this random ass video of my favorite finish simulator. If so, leave a like and maybe comment and tell me. Anyways, I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Adios.